Hey, I'm Allison Woods. I write children's books and I tell these stories. The two words for today's story are Christmas and page 267. Technically, that's 5 words, but here's the story. Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Allison. And Allison grew up in the United States of America, in the state of Illinois, in the city of Chicago. And she grew up in the house on Michigan Avenue with her mother, her father, and her 2 sisters. Well, when Allison grew up in the mid to late 50s and early 60s, they just didn't have a lot in the way of communication. They had telephones, landlines, and they had the television. And back then, it was black and white television. There were no cell phones, no color TV, no internet, no laptops, no desktops, no nothing. So the only way Allison could find out what the hot toys were for Christmas was to watch cartoons on Saturday mornings, because all the commercials would be for Christmas toys. But Allison's mother kept them so busy, she and her sisters rarely had a chance to watch cartoons on Saturday morning. But lucky for her, every year, a department store called Sears, which was the largest retailer in the world at that time, published something they called the Sears Wish Book. Well, when the wish book would get to the house, Allison and her sisters would make a beeline for it, and they would go through it page after page because, it took a while to get to the toys because there was everything in that wish book for adults, for the home, everything. At one point, I think they even sold cars in that wish book. But anyway, one year, Allison got to page 267, and that was it. She didn't look at another page because on page 267 were Barbie dolls. And she had to have one. She crossed everything else off her list and just left the Barbie dolls because she figured out that the more things you had on your list, then you would leave it up to their mother to figure out what to get you. And she didn't want her mother trying to figure it out. She wanted her mother to know she wanted that Barbie doll. Allison's mother got the list. And when she looked at the list, she thought, I'm going to get her the Barbie doll. And I'm going to ask her godmother, who Allison called Aunt Gloria, to make that Barbie doll some clothes because Aunt Gloria was the best seamstress. Well, on Christmas morning when Allison got up, not only did she have a Barbie doll and some of the clothes that Mattel put for the Barbie doll, her Aunt Gloria had made the Barbie doll. Now you better sit back to hear this, a mink stole. You know what I'm talking about? You couldn't tell Allison anything that year. She was so excited. Well, Allison grew up and her time for playing with Barbie dolls came to an end. And when her mother sold their childhood home, she sold the Barbie and the clothes to a family whose daughter really, really, really wanted a Barbie. At first, Allison was a little kind of annoyed, but then she thought, that'll be good. Another kid will get to enjoy the Barbie just as she had. And needless to say, Allison's love for Christmas and for wish books in general lived happily ever after. The end. Do y'all have a story like that, about a holiday? It doesn't have to be about Christmas, just any holiday. Well, that's the story I want you to tell your word givers today. But if you can't think of a story like that, those word givers, they're just waiting for you to say, give me 2 words and I'll give you a story. And once you say that, they'll give you those 2 words and baby, you'll be off to the races with your story. Because after all, these word givers, they love you. They are your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your neighbors, your cousins. Well, anybody who will listen to you tell a story.